How did the Civil War strengthen the federal government? Have you ever wondered how a conflict could reshape an entire nation's structure? The American Civil War did just that, significantly strengthening the federal government in ways that still affect us today. Let's break down how this monumental event transformed the balance of power between the federal and state governments. Before the Civil War, states enjoyed a great deal of independence. The federal government had limited direct contact with citizens, primarily through tariffs and the postal service. However, the war changed everything. To preserve the Union, the federal government had to take control over various aspects of life, including economic, military, and social matters. One major change was the expansion of federal authority over the economy. The government introduced the first national income tax to fund the war efforts. This marked a shift away from relying solely on tariffs. It also established an internal revenue system, complete with tax collectors to enforce these new laws. Additionally, legislation like the Homestead Act distributed land to settlers, while the Land-Grant College Act funded agricultural and mechanical colleges. These actions significantly increased federal influence over the economy and the lives of individuals. The military aspect also saw a transformation. The Civil War introduced the first federal draft in American history. This meant that citizens were compelled to serve in the military, marking a direct federal intervention in personal lives. This demonstrated the government's newfound ability to mobilize resources and manpower on an unprecedented scale. Another critical change was the rejection of the idea that states could secede from the Union. The war established the permanence of the federal government and affirmed that national law takes precedence over state laws. This outcome diminished the power of states to challenge federal authority, reinforcing the concept of a unified nation. The abolition of slavery during the war also played a significant role. The Emancipation Proclamation and subsequent constitutional amendments ended slavery, a major institution in the South. This involved the federal government asserting control over a vital aspect of state economies and social structures. After the war, the federal government further expanded its role by passing civil rights legislation to protect the freedoms of formerly enslaved individuals. The Civil War also changed how the Constitution was interpreted. The Necessary and Proper Clause allowed Congress to enact laws deemed essential for executing its powers. The defeat of the Confederacy destroyed the notion that the Constitution was merely an agreement among sovereign states. Instead, it affirmed that the federal government held ultimate authority. In summary, the Civil War transformed the United States from a loosely connected federation of states into a stronger, centralized nation. The federal government became capable of directly taxing citizens, regulating the economy, enforcing civil rights, and maintaining national unity. This shift laid the foundation for the modern American federal system we know today.